Christ!
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Crash City. This week, we have another member of Marvel Rivals. Actually, the newest member of Marvel Rivals. We have Jennifer Sunbell, who plays White Fox.
What's up,
Hi.
everybody? Annyeong. Hello.
Oh, that's awesome. So, before we get into the Marvel Rival stuff,
Yeah.
I do have a question because I'm looking at everything you've done, and how long have you been voice acting?
So voice acting. So I've been acting for a while. I've been on camera. I do musical theater. Technically, if we're gonna go technical, my very first voiceover job, I don't even know what year that was at this point, but it was like 10, 15 years ago or something. And it was for anti-diarrhea medicine called Trevelon. So technically that was my very first voiceover gig. And then I fully dove in. When I moved to LA, I was focusing on camera and musical theater, but I had always loved voiceover. And I was like, I really want to be a singing pony or, a zombie slayer or something. And so I was able to get with my agent in March of 2020. So literally, I got with my agent. I was in the middle of a musical production. We had opening weekend. So we did 3 shows and then we were shut down. So I was like, great. Well, I guess there's no on camera, there's no musical theater. We're staying far away from each other. So it's the perfect time to just lock myself in my closet and just scream and cry and laugh and giggle and do all the things. So, yeah. So that was when my official head first dive in, go for it. I'm a COVID person. Started during COVID.
Okay, so this is kind of cool because normally I ask the older voice actors, hey, how did COVID mess with you? And they usually say that they miss going into the studio and seeing people in the waiting rooms, but you started during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, my first one, obviously, I went into the studio to record that really awesome project. It's still very dear to my heart, traveling. But no, I started off in my closet. Fortunately, because I'm also a singer, I already had all the gear. I just had to build out my closet, basically. I just had to sound treat my closet. So once I did that, and then, had to get faster at editing because I was really slow. Because with music, I can take my time. I can, but when you have multiple auditions and you have to knock them out, or you're in a live session, you have to be able to make adjustments on the fly. So, yeah, so there was a little bit of a learning curve, and also translating my on-camera experience into voice acting. Like, acting is great, but there are certain nuances that are specific to voiceover, like efforts and emotes that for theatrical on-camera stuff, they can see it in your face and in your body, but you can't hear me go, right? Unless I go, so yeah. So yeah, that's how it all began. But I actually prefer going into studio, even though I started off here. This is not my original setup. I started in my closet. But I actually prefer to go into studio because I like to separate my technical engineering brain with my creative brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your live action stuff, I want to touch on to that a little bit because you've been credited with being like on NCIS, and other crazy shows. Let's talk about that a little bit. What have you done live action?
Yeah, so you just mentioned I was on the original NCIS. I did an episode of that. I worked on House of Lies with Kristen Bell and Ben Schwartz. Hung out with our boy Warhammer, Don Cheadle. I got to work on Showtime's Kidding with the incredible Jim Carrey. Unfortunately, my scene got cut. That's very common. It happens. But I have picture proof, so it happened. It was just so incredible to see Jim work. It was just like, I don't know if I should say call him, but Mr. Carrey, I don't know. He was just so amazing. And we'd have a moment and he'd be like this, and I'd be like, and it was really magical. Also, I'm part of the American Pie film series. I am the new moon girl from American Reunion. Yeah, that was a fun story about that one. Because I had never, I don't know if this is appropriate, but I had never like used a bong before. So I had
Yeah.
to learn while on set. They were like, "There's nothing in here, but this is how you do." I was like, "Okay, you're gonna have to show me," and I had to learn. And yeah, I don't think I could do it again, but I did it that day. Yes, yeah. So yeah, what else? I don't know. I mean, I work on projects that my family is also in the business, so we are actively creating projects even now. I have projects that I'm writing, so it never ends. It never ends. Yeah.
So what, when you got some of these contract or these opportunities to voice some of these characters, like you're Mitsuri's mom in Demon Slayer, for anybody who
Yeah,
didn't know that.
I
Like, how did some of these offers come up, or where did you see like the opportunity to try out for some of these things?
So having an agent is huge. A lot of the opportunities come through the agents, obviously, because casting directors and studios will send casting calls out, breakdowns,
Mhm.
and the agents will get it and they will send them to you. And my agent's fantastic. She sends me, she, he, all of them send me so many different opportunities across multiple genres. Um, Specifically for an anime, I had done, what did I do? I did summertime summertime rendering, and that was technically my first anime. And then I did
Mhm.
Heavenly, can't remember the order anymore now. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Um, but then I did like Heavenly Delusions, and at some point I I had taken, because as a voice actor, I'm continually trying, as an actor in general,
Yes.
continually trying to further my craft. Learn new techniques from people that are more seasoned than myself. Work with casting directors and voice directors that don't know me, or directors on camera as well. And so I took a class with Mommy at Bang Zoom, and it was just, technically I've taken two classes with her. So the first time I took it, and she was like, "That was great." And then, I kind of like followed up and everything, and it was, nothing really happened. But then I took another class with her a couple years later. It was December of 2023, I want to say. And I took it, and she was pleasantly blown away by my performance. And after that, I was requested to audition for Suzume, for Tamaki.
No,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, so I got requested to read for Suzume, and I booked it. And I, at the time, didn't even know how big, Makoto Shinkai was, and how big Suzume was, and how awesome Your Name is, and,
Yeah.
Whether With You, and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't know, because I was like a little green baby when it came to that stuff. And after that, I booked that, recorded that, and my relationship. So it's, in this business, it's all about relationships and having good relationships with people, and just being willing to serve is so important. And so I built a really good relationship with Bang Zoom. So technically, Mitsuri from Demon Slayer was a direct offer. So they just offered it to me, and I was like, let's go play. So there's that. But I get requested, and I've had other direct offers as well. But the other times I still have to audition. So like for Megumi, I got requested and auditioned and booked it for Rurouni Kenshin. So yeah.
That's crazy. As of the day of this recording, the actual podcast episode with me and the voice of Punisher, Bill Millsap, comes out this morning.
Oh, yeah, Bill was
It
my
did, yeah.
okay. Yeah, I love Bill. He's incredible. We had a good time recording Suzume, but it was also very nuanced and very, just because we really wanted to do the film and every interaction, every relationship justice,
Mhm.
because it's such a beautiful story. And so yeah, Bill and I spent several sessions together, a lot of crying, a lot of, like crying. So, yeah.
That's the crazy part. Like it seems like as many, like as many projects as there are for voice acting, it seems like you guys always constantly will run into each other or see another actor somewhere in some
Yeah,
other show.
yeah, I mean, it's it's a big world, but it's a small world, and here's the thing, people will wanna work with you, and I tell my students, you know, m people wanna work with you when you come ready, when you come prepared, when you have a great
Mhm,
attitude, when you come ready to play, right? And it's we leave our ego at the door. We, you know, no matter who you are, some of the most humble people I've had the opportunity to interact with are some of the most seasoned actors. Jennifer Hale is one. Like, she is one of the most humble and most giving humans. I love her to pieces that I know. And she's like the queen.
yeah.
She's like OG. She's the one of the founders basically to me, you know. Um Roger Craig Smith, another. He's just so nice, so humble, so great, right? So it's you come in and you build a relationship with people not because, and here's the difference, you don't build a relationship with people with a like, I want more, give me, give me, give
Mhm,
me. It's build a relationship with people because you genuinely want to get to know them. You genuinely want to have a relationship with people, and you're honored to be able to provide a solution to their problem. Casting needs someone to voice this character. You are that solution, right? And it's just
mhm.
one part of your relationship, right? And so it's pretty cool that, like, even for Marvel Rivals, like, before I even booked it, I was like, I was cheering on everybody. I mean, it's so many freaking talented people in in this game, and I love them all, and it's so cool to be along this journey with them, and that's what it ends up being. Like, you're on a journey with the people that, um, are chasing the same dream as you, and it's, you know, there's no, yeah, we go out for the same role, but for the people that I know and I care and I love about, when someone else books it, I'm genuinely so excited for them because what's meant for them is meant for them. What's meant for me is meant for me. So,
I like that. I like that mentality. What is a role that you applied for and you absolutely did not know if you were gonna get it, and it shocked you when you did?
um, I would say, oh man, I've been so fortunate for so many different things. I will say Nora Armstrong in Metroid was one. Um, that one, first of all, I had no idea what I was auditioning for. Literally no clue. I had an idea of it being like quote unquote military based
Mhm.
because of the sides and some of the graphics they references they sent, but I had no idea. Also, for that particular role, it was a performance capture audition, so not strictly VO. So
Yeah.
I had to perform on camera and literally not knowing anything and just being excited to be able to anytime I get an audition, I'm excited. But anytime I get a performance capture audition, I'm really, really excited because it's like it's one of my favorite things to do. It's like I always tell people performance capture is like if, the theater and on camera had a baby, there you go. And I'm like, those are my worlds. Now I'm in the baby, you know. Um, and so that one is like you just don't know. I didn't know what they were looking for. I didn't know much. It was a very pared down description of the character and I approach it like I approach everything. I pour my heart and soul into it, and then I kind of forget about it. There are some that might linger, and I was like, this would be so cool to book, but I was like, I've done what I've done. I can't do anything else. So I'll just let it go. And then when I got the offer for that one, I was like, what? This is so cool. I can't believe it. And then when I found out what it was, I literally cried because Metroid is something that like my husband and I bonded over because it's one of his favorite IPs. I've said this before.
Yeah.
And when we got our first cat together, it was a boy. It's okay. It doesn't matter. We named him Samus. And so, yeah, yeah, we named him Samus. And actually, when like I get emotional when I think about it because when I booked it, Samus had died like the year before. He had gone to,
Mhm.
he had crossed the rainbow and he had, lived with me for 18 years and he was my baby. And so when I got it, it was like he was still shining down on me. So yeah. Ah,
Oh,
I love
I
my
know.
oh, they're
I know.
every single one, whether they're here or there. I love them. So yeah.
Oh. That's a great story. That makes me sad. I couldn't imagine. I know one day I'll lose my fur baby and it'll hurt my heart, and I can't imagine, but that's a crazy story.
Push them and love them and just bother them right now as much as you can and kiss them, and that's what I do. I'm like, "You will take all my kisses and love. Snuggle with me. Snuggle."
I love hearing the stories of when you guys don't know exactly what you're applying to, because I've heard it multiple times. Sometimes the NDA is sent to you and you're just like, "Oh, okay, cool." And you barely look at it or you glance and then you're like, "Oh, oh, my life. Oh, this is weird or this is wild." And I love seeing that reaction for voice actors because I'm like, "Oh, you guys just kind of have blind faith going into some of these."
Oh, all the time. We live in the world of NDA. Sometimes to even audition, you have to sign an NDA. So you don't even get to see any of the sides. And then you sign the NDA, you get the sides, and you still have no clue what it is. Sometimes you can kind of sleuth, or people kind of figure it out. But half the time I don't know. When I booked Caesar from ZZZ, I didn't know what it was. I had no
Mhm.
idea that's what I was auditioning for, at least. I just went in, had so much fun with Caesar, and I was like, I don't know what they're looking for, but this is what I'm feeling, and that's how that happened. And then they're like, "Oh, this is for Zenless." Oh, had no clue. Yeah. So it's like a
Have you
happy.
played any of the games that you voiced?
I did play a little ZZZ. That one was fun. I mean, I will say I selfishly played so I could pull Caesar, which I did with my little one. Um, And, I will say I haven't played Metroid yet, but, I'm waiting to play that one. And I am a little intimidated by Rivals, but I may give myself a chance. It's so much chaos and my poor brain is like, but I'm told that once I, like, lock in and figure out things, then it's like you get clarity, and then it's like it's not too bad, you know? But then
Yeah.
I think about, like, Smash, and, like, when I play Smash Bros, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, where am I? And how did I get over there? Because I didn't even realize someone threw me or whatever." So, yeah. So, we'll see. So, sometimes
I
I.
it's like, the reason I ask is because Brian Beacock, I had him on the show, and he voiced Agumon and, Momokuma from Danganronpa. Never had played, never had heard his voice in the game, and so I'm like, "Oh, that's fair for some people that just don't like playing video games."
Yeah. I mean, it's also sometimes, and I can go both ways. Sometimes I listen, I'm like, "Oh, man, I wish they had taken a different take." Like, what if they had done? But
Yeah.
that's me. For on-camera stuff, I'm like, I don't really watch myself because then I'm like, I could have done this.
Mhm.
We are all our biggest critics, and I'm so guilty of that. But the older I get, the more I'm like just trying to let that go and to appreciate the moment. Because one thing that I will say, and I've said it before in other interviews and other things that I've done, but like voice acting, especially, I would say, when you get into, yeah, just voice acting in general has made me a better actor as a whole, no matter
Mhm.
what medium I'm in, because a lot of times for voiceover, you don't get the material until you walk into the booth. And then you're like given, like, you see a spreadsheet of 500 lines, and you're like, all right, let's go. This is what we're doing. Right. And you're given like a brief little description of what's happening. And then you have to just give two takes, take direction, give another take or two. Sometimes there's line rewrites. You have to be so present, so in the moment, because you don't have time to think and be like, what's my process? What's my backstory? You don't have all that. It's given to you. You're
Yep.
given the backstory, and you just got to go. And sometimes you're doing multiple characters in one session, so you have to be able to switch from serious and like stoic to like cookie and like all over the place, right? So you have to be so present, and that to me is it helps me not only in my work but even at home. Making sure we stay present. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, so your students. So let's get into that too. So
Okay.
you teach, what exactly do you teach? Which style of acting, or all of acting, singing, everything? What do you teach?
Yeah, I mean, right now I mainly focus on voiceover. I do sometimes coach people on camera auditions. Not as much, but Mainly it's voiceover. So I work with the GVAA and I lead a 2 workouts for them a month. I have private clients as well. And then Courtney Lynn and I started an e-course called the School of Voiceover, which we are in the middle of revamping at the moment. But it's a go at your own pace e-course that is a foundational course for getting into voiceover. We talk about acting, script analysis, setting up your booth, getting an agent, your website, the business side, vocal health. So we kind of go over everything. And so yeah. So there's that as well.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, because when you said your students, I was like, does she hold like a classroom or something like that? And then, how many people have just uh hit you up, or former students have hit you up and said congratulations on the Marvel role?
Oh, everybody has been so well. So for the School of Voiceover, we have a private Facebook group for our students, and everybody's just been hitting me up, and they've just been so supportive. And they're like, I can't wait, and I'm like, I can't wait to be in the game with you, and that is my biggest joy. Like being in projects with people that I've coached, and it's like it goes both ways. When I've worked get in a project with someone that I've coached with, I'm like, I can't believe we're in this game together, because I think a lot of times some people can be very like protective of like, this is my stuff, this is my genre, this is my vocal range, this is my characters that I usually do, and but to me, I'm like, let's all play. There's so much opportunity out there, and I feel like if you try to pigeonhole or protect what's yours, you're only blocking other opportunities that maybe you didn't think were in your range or a possibility from coming to you.
Mhm.
So yeah, so everyone's just been really, really cool and supportive. I forgot to mention I also work with Skills Hub now too, which is Jennifer Hale's program. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, yeah. So I'm all up. One of the reasons why Courtney and I created the School of Voiceover specifically is because we would be in classes, and that's how we actually met, and we'd see newer actors come in and just not really have a solid foundation on which to build upon. And to me, I went through that when I started acting, and so it's really important for both of us to hopefully help our students kind of not have to throw spaghetti at the wall, but have it be more focused, more laser focused, so that they can intentionally build their foundation brick by brick by brick so that it's solid, and then they can branch out and grow from there. I'm all about giving and celebrating and championing other talent. Because if we don't, then we aren't going to get like incredible performances like from people that maybe you don't know about, but now you do. So yeah.
How many people even before this, how many people hit you up and just randomly and through a DM and just went, how do I become a voice actor?
I get hit up pretty often from people I don't know or from people I do know, and I do my best to give as much as I can. I wish I had a million hours in a day to be able
Mhm.
to kind of walk everyone through where they are on their journey, because that's the other thing. Everybody's at a different place, right? You
Mhm.
might have like solid acting foundation, but you don't understand the tech side, and you have to the tech side, your microphone and all of this stuff is a part of it. You have to be able to, especially because of COVID, um, remote sessions are absolutely 100% valid and needed. It's opened the door to casting too, because they get to have access to talent they didn't have before if they didn't live in Los Angeles and New York and stuff. So and Texas. So yeah, I get hit up by a lot of people, but and I do my best. I do. And um those who are willing to invest in themselves, they're the ones that I see moving forward. Those who just want like freebies handed out to them without actually investing, those are the ones I see struggle. So I really encourage everyone, don't be afraid to invest, because if you truly want to do something, you invest. And I'm not saying spend millions and millions of dollars, but like, you know, find a coach, find a course, find a group of friends at least to start with, and pour into it. It's like where you where what is that saying? I always tell my kids this, and I don't remember it now, but it's like where your passion, your love, your joy, and the more that area that you nurture, that is where you will see that's where it will grow, right?
Mhm.
Right? So it's like just like a plant, you know? You plant the seed, but if you don't water it, if you don't give it the nutrition, it's not going to grow. So, yeah, it takes time and investment. So,
I always feel like fans kind of think like, "Hey, this is an easy way to get famous," or "This is something easy," and it's not. It from what I've been told is this is harder than live action.
this is what I will say. I won't say that it's harder than live action because live action has got its own path, its own journey, its own thing. It's a little bit different. What I will say is that there's a lot more access to because there's so much talent and all you really need is a microphone. You don't have to see your face. You don't have to like do all of that stuff.
Mhm.
So yes, in that aspect, it's kind of harder because you're going to have so much more competition, right?
Yes.
But it's not harder in that like I don't know how to say this, but what I will say is that when I specifically started to focus on voiceover, um, especially once I started to really gain traction, there are times where I would be in the studio 9 to 6, 9 to 7, and then come home and I have like sometimes 20 auditions that I'm gonna like try to like, power through and
Mhm.
get and do my best work. Sometimes you have to pass on them because not everything's right for you or because you just don't have the time or energy, right? Or
Yeah.
I'd be on the PCAP stage and from, 8 to 5 and then get a quick hour break and then I'm in the studio from like 6 to like 11 because of deadlines and projects that need to be done. So in that aspect, it's hard because sometimes you have to say no and you literally have to learn to balance, right? um it's when it comes to the acting though, acting is acting. Okay.
Yes.
And I think what people don't understand, and maybe that's why they think quote unquote it's harder than on camera, is that they get bogged down in all the technical and all that kind of stuff and all the competition. But and they're like, how do I stand out in this sea of many people trying to pursue this? And the answer to that is be a phenomenal storyteller, be a phenomenal actor. And that goes across every medium, on camera, musical theater, straight plays, performance capture, voiceover, whatever it is, that's what's going to stand you apart. Not that you can do a million different voices. There are some people that literally book with like one or two voice, right? And they constantly work. And then you have like the D. Bradley Bakers that can do the millions of like amazing creature voices that I can't do, right? So everybody has their thing, but the key is to all of them is they are fantastic storytellers. They are fantastic actors. So I wouldn't say that voice acting is harder. It's just a different medium, and it's harder if you quote unquote make it harder for yourself, right? So again, it goes back to like investing in yourself, right? I always tell people like I don't care how great your voice is, if you cannot tell a story whether on camera or behind a microphone and understand the difference between that, then like the million voices and accents that you can do aren't going to serve you the way they could if you could just tap into, for example, a mom losing a child or, you know, you just won the lottery, and whatever it is, there's so many things of life. And that's why I always tell everyone live a life too. Make sure you live a full life because that's what you're drawing from, you know. One time one of my students was like, I don't have a sister. How do I relate to this character? I was like, that's okay. Have you ever babysat someone? Do you have a best friend? Like there are things that you can draw from,
Mm.
right? You
Yeah.
know, so it's living a full life. I can't stress that enough.
That's so deep. Damn, I was not expecting that.
I go off. I'm sorry. Even when I lead like my workouts, I always like to lead with like a little like nugget of wisdom or a little mantra or something like that because I feel like it's so important. And a lot of times it's a lot of the times I will say it's just something that I've noticed in my own journey as in life, you know, things I've
Yeah.
learned from my kids or recently this past month I was on strict vocal rest. I had a minor vocal injury. I literally had no voice, and it really forced me to reflect and realize that as because I didn't I had some sessions that I was Marvel Rivals, I still listen to it, and I have no idea how I pulled that out for because it was like I like I don't know, higher power that day. It was incredible because I after that I had no voice again. Not because it's just the game, but it's been a struggle this past month. So I haven't auditioned really. I just started auditioning again since the beginning of February. And that's our livelihood, auditioning is what gets you the next job. It's not always going to be a direct offer, until you get to that point. One day. Um, but even from that, I was like, okay, my body's obviously telling me that I'm doing too much and I have to sit down and listen. And it was a great opportunity to spend more time with my family, get more movement in because I love to get movement every day, whether it's lifting or I started boxing again.
Oh,
Yeah, just like a cardio boxing type class, but it was so good. I came out like, I'm so sweaty and I'm so sore, and it feels good, Um, truly like blocking off my calendar to go on trips with my family like next week. So I was like, because it's very, very easy. And this is this thing I will tell everybody, especially when it comes to it's very, very easy to just get sucked in and say yes to everything. And sometimes, and I'm that person, I like overbook myself all the time, double book myself sometimes, even with like family events. Because I feel like yes, I want to do it. Yes, I want to work with you. Yes, 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 yes. But something my husband told me years ago, for everything you say yes to, you're saying no to something else. So what are you saying no to? It could be something, one time if I had said yes to a booking, then I would have said no to something that was quote unquote a bigger booking. So it
yeah.
ended up working out. So yeah, food for thought.
That is food for thought. Wow. Yeah, no, I like this conversation. This has been fun.
Yeah.
So let's get into the reason why everybody will be excited for this episode.
I hope.
You are White Fox. You
I
are in
hope.
Marvel Rivals.
Fight the puxes. Yes.
How does that feel? And did you know the character before it was announced?
When I initially got the audition, I was like, "Ooh, I don't know this one," but I was obviously very interested and intrigued because she's Korean.
Mhm.
And so I did a lot of research, and I was like, "Okay, okay." So she's kind of like the leader, kind of like the Nick Fury, and she's very um, s- subtle but powerful. So yeah, so I had to do research. I had to do research, and also some of the research involved like crafting her accented English too, because there's I grew up military and I grew up with so many different people who learned English from so many different people, walks of
Mhm.
life from all over the US or across in like the UK. They learn their English from like someone who speaks British. So I really, tried to hone in and like tap into that for her. And yeah, no, I don't know. It was really cool. And honestly, the audition, it's not like some people think when you get an audition, especially for like these big characters, that you're gonna get like a ton of dialogue and a ton of stuff.
No.
It was like 5 lines. 5 scenes, 5 mini ones. Yeah. Yeah.
Real quick, Army Brat?
I am an army brat. Yeah. Are you wait, are you?
I am not, but my editor is, so he's gonna be so excited to hear this.
Oh yeah. Well, you could tell him or he can listen that I was born in El Paso, Texas at Beaumont Hospital in Fort Bliss.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I lived in Germany twice. My mom's Korean, so been to Korea many times. My dad's originally from Detroit, Michigan. Lived in Kansas, South Carolina. My family lives in Georgia now. Um, yeah, all over the
that's
place.
cool. That's cool. That's awesome. But yeah, when it came to like just the way that you got it and the amount of love that the fan base was having, because we kind of knew that White Fox and Black Cat were going to be in this season,
I
you
know,
know.
you guys seem to know everything. Honestly, I feel like because people started following me, and I was just like, before even I knew she was coming out, because it all happened so fast because I finished
Mhm.
recording her at the end of February, and I was like, "It's already happening, there's and it sounds so good." And so, and I was just like, I have a feeling because we don't know. Typically, we don't know. Sometimes we might get an email being like, "All right, this project's dropping," and they might say like, "You could talk about it this day or whatever," you know. But a lot of times we don't. Half the time, people will just start tagging me and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I did do that. Like that was months ago. Great. Hey, I guess it's out." You know. I don't know. But so I people started following me, and I was like, "Oh, I think she's dropping soon. Uh oh."
Well, yeah, when we saw when the trailer drops and then she comes out, my immediate thought was, "Who's the voice actor? Because this is fantastic. I'm so excited." And then you made the announcement on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta meet this person."
Oh man, that just makes me so happy. Honestly, everybody has been so just so wonderful and just I just feel so honored truly and to be able to represent a Korean superhero like I never knew that was a dream I had until it happened and that's happened to me many times on this journey. I never knew it was a dream character until it happened and she's
Yeah.
definitely one. I love her so much. Um, I tap into a lot of like because she's very stoic and very but just I tap into a lot of like just like my mom's energy. Not that she's super stoic, but she's got like this like I mean a lot of our moms do, but like my mom, this literally just one look and I know whether she's feeling
Mhm.
it or not, you know? And so yeah, yeah. Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
I love you. 사랑해, 엄마.
So, one last question before we begin to wrap up is, did you think your life was gonna be this way at all? At any point, did you think it?
No, not at all. For those who don't know, um, I mean, my family, we didn't have a lot of money growing up. So going to college was like a really big deal. My sister and myself are the youngest on my dad's side, at least. And even on my mom's side, we're the youngest of all the kids, from my cousins and stuff. And the gap is pretty huge between myself and my cousins. Like, they're all well, I mean, like 15 years older than me and my sister, or maybe even 20 in some of them, right? So we were like the babies of both sides of the family. And, my mom's from Korea. So it's sort of a different life with university and stuff like that. But on my dad's side, it was, a big deal for us to go to college and, and so I went to school for electrical engineering. I have a bachelor of science in electrical engineering from the Georgia Institute of Technology. Love my Georgia Tech, Yellow Jackets. So yeah, that's what I originally set out to do was be an electrical engineer. I worked for while I was in school. I did something called a co-op. So every other semester, I'd work for a company. So I worked for Kimberly-Clark and then another company called Sunoco. So I graduated with like 2+ years of experience. I mean, like I had job offers, but I was like, I couldn't see myself just coding and doing schematics and all of that stuff. It just didn't bring me joy. And the moment that I realized that truly I had something called a mill session for Kimberly-Clark. I love Kimberly-Clark. They were great to me. But I worked on the first wet toilet paper machine. Um, yeah, I know the very first wet toilet paper product that came out from Kimberly-Clark. I worked on building. I programmed and designed a lot of the touch screens for the actual assembly machine itself. And a lot of times it's just like uh, a button, like on, off, like hot, cold, or like error, or whatever. But I went out, my little college girl, in my goggles, my safety goggles, and my hard hat, and my steel toe boots. I'm on the factory floor, and I'm like literally drawing in 3D what the machine looks like, coils and everything. And I made it so it like animated it. And so it was like very artistic. And that's when I was just like, I don't think I'm supposed to be an engineer. I'd like to be an artist of some sort. And I didn't know what that artist was. And then I went to vet tech. And then I was a vet tech because that was my job to pay for, food and stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna be a veterinarian because I love animals, if you can't tell. And then my husband started getting, well, he was my boyfriend at the time, started to get into acting. And I had done like musical theater. I did Guys and Dolls in high school and little things here and there. But um, he was getting into it and they were like, come be an extra. You need on-set experience and bring your girlfriend. She's pretty. I was like, whatever. I'm a broke college student. I'll come hang out with you on set and get paid $150. That's great. That's a lot of money for me. And did that. And that was that. I was like still working as a vet tech, but I was like trying to be an actor. I did, and I've done everything. I think back to a lot of the things that I've done over the years, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't have done that. That was really dangerous and stupid. But I was like, oh, you want me to run and jump down like 3 steps of stairs? And yeah, let's go. I'm doing it. Oh, you want to for like a movie, they're like, I'm like getting robbed. And they're like, you want to use a real knife? Okay. No. Like, yeah. So stupid. Don't be like Jen. Don't be baby Jen. Okay. So yeah, no, I can't. Oh, man. Now thinking back to all of that. I can't believe this is where I'm at right now. It's been such a journey. Lots of ups and downs. Lots of time was quit. Voiceover kind of saved me. I was literally quit. I was done. I was so done. And then I got into voiceover, and it just rejuvenated not only my career but also just my passion. So I'm super, super grateful. Thank you guys. Yeah.
This has been great. That was really emotional. That's awesome to hear.
Now you know why I'm an actor, though. I'm just like, oh my God, all the time.
Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, I'm on X and Instagram and TikTok as Jennifer Sunbell. If you want to check out, I also have like a kind of like another podcast. Now, ours is a little different than what you do here, but we have a show called Courtney Lynn and I have a show called OneUp on YouTube that people can check out. It's a lot of information from a lot of not just voice actors, though. It's on camera writers, directors, producers, musicians. Again, we're just all about service, being of service. So yeah, and if you're interested in acting, hit up School of Voiceover, schoolofvo.com. And I'm always happy to answer questions. And yeah, if you're on TikTok, I am just starting, guys. I really resisted. I resisted, and it's a really slow process over there. I'm really trying to like be better about my socials. I was really good for a while, but then like I just lost the joy, guys. But this is what I will say. You guys are really bringing the joy back. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, this was my conversation with White Fox, Jennifer Sunbell. Thank you again for being here.
You're so awesome, Donovan. So great.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we will see each and every one of you in our next adventures. Bye, guys.
Bye.
That was this week's interview. Obviously, you had to have loved it because you stayed towards the end, and we really appreciate that. But please hit the subscribe button. Like, comment, even share. Helps me and helps my guests. And if you want to stay here a little bit longer, we have previous weeks where we interviewed some of the best people on this planet. Plus, you can head over to the Crash Pad where you can see me, Erebus V, and It's Bacon just mark out on some wrestling. Whether you want to get into wrestling or already been a fan for years, come and see our reactions. You never know what you're going to get.